Hello and thanks for joining the first edition of Journalist Hangout this week. I'm the regular host, Ayodele Uzubaku. Today on the program, confusion has former military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida urges President Buhari not to seek re-election. And later on the program, Army declares total victory over Boko Haram. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Mojid Jamiu, and Martins Oloja. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Glad to have you back. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo's open letter to President Muhammadu Buhari is costing the president a lot of political capital. Today, it is having what we call a bandwagon effect on the polity, and powerful Nigerians are jumping on it. The social media space is buzzing, and people are speaking out. Over the weekend, former military president Ibrahim Babangida took a stab at President Buhari's 2019 ambition. He wants Mr. President to step aside in the upcoming general election to allow what he calls a generational shift that should reinvent the wheel of leadership and spur healing in Nigeria. Just when Nigerians were processing this statement, IBB disowned it. But in a matter of minutes, he came back to affirm it. Why the back and forth? Three press statements within a day. Babajide, when I got that thing, the first thing that came was that, okay, I saw it. I said, I expected that something like this will happen. But later on, when I got the rebuttal, I read the rebuttal and I said, wow, this is deep. I couldn't get our friend Kazim Afego on the phone. And I had to call a friend and told me that Kazim is standing by the statements. So this afternoon, I asked somebody, what was this drama all about? The back and forth. On TVC News yesterday, we spoke with Kazim, and we know Kazim has been speaking for General Babangida, at least in the last 10, 15 years. Judith, pick it up from here.
Actually, I don't see why Nigerians are bothering themselves so much about a letter from Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, especially a letter or a press statement that says that he should not submit himself to Nigerians for leadership. The truth is, IBB has always been in the PDP, unlike Obasanjo, who outsourced the tearing of his membership card to a man dressed in lace material. He has never left the PDP. In fact, if you recall, during the campaigns for the 2015 election, Buhari went to IBB, and IBB spoke like someone who had endorsed him. Jonathan went. He appeared to endorse Jonathan as well. The difference is that Jonathan went to him twice. So he got 2 endorsements to Buhari's 1. So clearly you know who he preferred to win the election. Now secondly, when the PDP were preparing for their convention,
November,
Babangida was actively involved. He was warning party members to stand together. He was warning against the monetization of the process. People can go back and check all these things. So this is a man who has never left the PDP. Now for me, Babajide, if a man has never left the PDP, I will not be shocked if that person says, look, Buhari, don't contest.
Like any opponents will talk.
Yes, because they are not in the same party. he would not want Buhari to win the election. He would prefer someone else from his own party because he remains
actively involved in running the PDP.
He remains in the PDP. Okay. That is a fact. So he can say, no, don't contest. He can say, don't run. And that's why the back and forth about the statement itself is a surprise to me. But I'm not really, I'm not someone who gets easily deceived. It's done, I believe so much in that first letter that he wrote. And this day's story, the only thing that the former military president was unhappy about is the aspect of that letter that appears to try to discourage Buhari from contesting. Every other thing in that letter.
Insinuating generational shifts and...
He wanted that. Obasanjo did the same thing to him in 2007. Obasanjo told him that, look, let's support a younger person. When Babangida wanted to contest. Yeah. Obasanjo told him, no, let us support a younger person. So it's the same thing that he's saying now. So it's not something that I'm really surprised about. It's just the aspect of appearing to discourage the president from contesting, which will make it look like it was exactly what Obasanjo said, that he said is the point of departure. If you look at the second letter, there's absolutely nothing in it. No message, just full of rambling and errors and all that. So I believe that in his heart of hearts, he will prefer someone else to be president. Someone more pliable, someone who will listen to him, not someone who, for the greater part of their years on life, they've never been friends.
Because I will still come to that, Babajide. MJ, now, when you look at the letter and the back and forth, and somebody told me that, oh, what is this? Why is this man always showing that he's true to his name, Maradona? Because if Kazim is saying, I stand by these statements and everything in this thing that was, that. So from what we gathered, we don't know, but we're told that maybe the effect of the first statement was getting at the general and some of his family and everything came together and put on that second defense. What did you gather from what happened?
I think for once, the Maradona, quote unquote, got himself dribbled by that, by issuing those three letters. Like you actually said, when I saw the first letter, I was like, could this be IBB? Because the last thing I gathered about him is that he needs more prayers from Nigerians than Nigerians need a letter from him with his state of health. So whether he's in a state where he can actually write that kind of letter or get someone to write that kind of letter to Nigerians is questionable. And I've been asking since yesterday, Babangida is not a spirit, he's living. When Obasanjo wrote his own letter, he spoke to it. They interviewed him, he confirmed it, and he has been saying it. He went to Ota to register at the Coalition Center. He sent Oyinlola and Duke to open the Lagos Center, and he's been standing by them, he's been speaking to it. Babangida, let him come out and speak to Nigerians. Forget about Kasim Afegua. He's a friend, brilliant chap. He's been writing for Babangida for the past 14 years.
He speaks for Babangida officially.
He speaks for Babangida officially. But I would rather believe Mohammed Babangida, who is the son now, and Mahmoud Abubakar, who is the social media, he handles the social media page of Babangida. They did the first rebuttal, about 3 paragraphs, but then they made an error because they did it hurriedly. They put GCON instead of GCFR, so Nigerians lashed on that. They said, no, this is not for Babangida. This is GCON. No, of course, so many grammatical errors.
Dozens of errors.
Dozens of errors. And it's
not befitting for that general.
And they were trying to tell us what Babangida would have told Nigerians, that I remain the only military president in Nigeria. I mean, those are the kind of things he likes saying. That's in the first letter. So if you look at all these things, but Babangida what I keep telling people, just like the letter Obasanjo wrote, we don't need these people to tell Nigerians who to vote for. If Buhari likes, let him contest. The voters, the PVC are with Nigerians. If they want him in 2019, they'll vote for him. If they don't, we don't need any alien 72-old or 80-old former president to tell us where we should go. Babangida wanted to contest in 2015. Was he 20 years old then, or is he a youth? So what are they telling us? Like Jide said, the third letter that came was crass, absolute nonsense.
Martin,
there was nothing there.
Martin, let me come to you now. Now, there's this kind of informal consensus that, look, that these guys are stakeholders. They're the biggest stakeholders in Nigeria. I don't know wherever that fallacy comes from, but they'll say...
Notion.
Notion.
Not fallacy.
Notion comes from. And how you will look at it, in 1999, before 1999, we know how Obasanjo was thrown up and he emerged and everything. And since that time, there's always been these people behind the scene, always governing things. But I've seen Nigerians now that it's not in the place of these people to choose for us in 2019.
Well, you know, that's the notion. But, you know, the reality, though, I will have brought a book I mentioned here before, written by one of them, General Ali, former chief of, yes, MC Ali, former chief of Army Staff. The title of the book is Federal Republic of the Nigerian Army. The Federal Republic of the Nigerian Army. The title alone speaks volumes for the content, that we will continue to be in that Republic of the Nigerian Army. All these people, they are in charge. You know, as I think it's been discussed several times here, Obasanjo and IBB did not say any new thing. I personally have written on all those things, whether integrity or all those things, but not the same thing as these people speaking. Yes. Obasanjo and IBB, former leaders, if they are talking to one of them that this is what they are doing, yeah, they are doing it. All the time, you were giving us this background of what they did in... The generals just came together in 1999. They arranged with one of them in power at that time who was arranging the transition program that they should release that our man from prison. They released him from prison and they pardoned him and then they got him elected. And then one of them who later became National Security Advisor visited him in Otta. And another one put 800 million on the table when they did fundraising. The generals, they are in charge.
That's IBB.
Yes. They put money, and even T.Y. Danjuma, all of them. They got together and they fixed it. And then they put an advert in Nigeria, a man who can trust. And the rest is history. So they are still in charge, and they are talking again. And we have elevated them. We have made them prominent, even if they are not significant. And you know, in journalism, prominence, you cannot ignore the letter of Obasanjo, whether you like him or not. It will be on the front page. Yes. Yeah. It will be on the prime time. Same for IBB. In journalism, prominence. There is nothing you can do about prominence. Yeah. Somebody may be significant but not prominent. But somebody that is prominent will be on the front page, whether for good or for bad. These are prominent people, and there is nothing we can do about it. But I align myself with what he said. We continue to put them on the front page for whatever it is worth. But something is more important. Most of the people that Jide would not like his friends to call whalers, most of the people that are reading from the book of Lamentation, I've written it even in my column and whatever, and I have seen so many people go and register. Let us deepen democracy. Now the people in the north may be organizing their own men without making noise, getting them to register and have voter card. And our people will be lamenting here without registering.
On Facebook.
They'll be making noise on Facebook and Twitter and they will not register. You know, you recall the last time around, at the time Borno State that was devastated at war, had collected 75% of PVC. Ogun State was lamenting around 37%.
Yeah.
Ogun State was not at war. Ogun State was peaceful. But instead of going, our people are arrogant. You see, the majesty of democracy.
Lagos? Even Lagos.
What happened that time was not purely arrogance. They brought PVCs from other states to Ogun State. If you recall.
It was not only
PVCs that are not their own, so they
but it was not only in Ogun State. Most of our people traditionally don't want to register and they don't want to follow up. So the majesty of democracy is in what we are discussing.
All right.
Register and have their voter's card.
When going back to the general's letter and looking at the turn of events, we'll say a lot of people have been talking about the government of Muhammadu Buhari, and as if Obasanjo is, former President Obasanjo gauged the mood, latched onto it, and what everybody is saying, put it together, got the mood, and the letter seemed popular. Now, a new twist, we've said this man belongs to the People's Democratic Party. Yes. But a lot of people will always talk about this alternative. Kazim Olowe, my colleague from Ogun State, did a story yesterday, and he chronicled the relevance of Olusegun Obasanjo. Yes. And he went to the library and was able to do a good job by giving me all the archives and everything, the role that Obasanjo played ahead of 2019. With this new coalition, I don't know, maybe IBB will form a team with Obasanjo on the coalition, or they will stick to the PDP. Do you still see this as a big minus against the government of the day, looking at the political stock and prominence that Martin has spoken about?
No, you see, the thing, what they can do is to rouse a section of our people, you know, to take up their responsibility. That's what they can do. Obasanjo, as I always say, does not have electoral value. Even in his home state, Amosun was routinely defeating him. And in the 2003 election, he had to rig in Ogun State. The number of registered voters, the votes that the PDP got, was higher than the number of registered voters in Ogun State. I have proof. I was at the Supreme Court where that fact was established. So, but when he talks, whether we like it or not, we may not like his face, just as he doesn't like many people's faces. When he talks, people get to listen. That is the difference between him and us. Everything that he wrote in that letter, we had talked about on this table. Because we are patriots. We want our country to be better run. We want improvement. Some of the things that he talked about, even the president's wife had talked about those things in that famous interview with the BBC Hausa service. So it's not like they are saying anything new. But their voices carry weight, whether we like it or not. And that is just as he said, look, in today's world, you want to fancy an Aliko Dangote in terms of significance over an IBB. But an IBB will make news, will make front page news any day ahead of Aliko Dangote. That is a fact that nobody can change. Probably until he goes into his grave. That's the way it will be. For IBB, for Obasanjo, the message is clear. The government of the day has to improve. We've told them. When we had this fuel scarcity, we kept saying it. Today, the fuel scarcity has not abated. The strategy is to make it available in Lagos. Then make it a little bit available also in Abuja. But outside Lagos.
They're selling
my parents still buy 280 per liter. Yesterday I had to send our correspondent. He traveled to Osogbo. On his way back, I said, please go and give them 30 liters because they will not be able to know what's going on in the country. These are old people. When they can't watch TV because there's no light, they become even more bored about what's going on in our country, and they, inexorably, they will be moving closer and closer to their graves. I don't want that to happen. So get the chance to know what's going on in the country. We want improvement. Improvement in every area. Not that, and that does not mean that we do not like the government. Because some of us have put our reputation on the line. Some have spent money just to push this government over the line in 2015. And we have no regret. But we know that the government can do better. Even if it is to shame those who have given up on the government can do better. And that's the message from Obasanjo. The message from Babangida is not so clear. The message from Babangida, he's talking about new breed, which won't be the first time that he has talked about it. He wants new breed, the younger people, which means that he does not want he doesn't want the president, the current president. You know, in the rebuter, as Kazim went out, Kazim was saying, look, we've been misrepresented. We are not saying that the man should not run. But when you look at what he was saying, let me get, he said, we need to cooperate with President Muhammadu Buhari to complete his term of office on May 29, 2019, and collectively prepare the way for a new generation of leaders. We must tap into the resourcefulness of the younger generation. So if we are saying what he wants is for us to just gently ease the man out,
cooperate with him.
Cooperate with him, ease him out so that younger people can take over. It is not in their place to decide for Nigerians.
And this is what you are insinuating here is that the man should not run.
Interpretatively, that is what you are saying. There's no other message.
Complete his tenure. Why are you dancing around the bush?
So just you see, naturally, when things like this happen, you see, Mohammed Babangida, you can't tell him stories about our country. He can remember what he went through in, I think, 2006. Yes. When Glo was being investigated.
Yes,
and they locked him up. They locked him up because they traced the Glo headquarters at that time. They discovered that it was actually Mohammed Babangida's building. And then he was locked up. His dad had to intervene. That, look, my son is due to attend Umrah, Lesser Hajj. Why don't you want to release my son? Obasanjo had to step in at that time and directed EFCC to release him. You see, he may be thinking at this point that, look, this old man took this decision. But at the end of the day, if the thing backfires, we are in it together. The entire family is in it together. So I can understand why they now came together and say, okay, let's do another one. But the message of the first one is clear, and it's extremely difficult for me to believe that every line, Kazim Afegbua misrepresented the general. No, I will never believe that.
Because he said that much that he's sticking his head out.
As long as that thing is
on the line,
almost every line, the message is similar. You move from one paragraph to another, it's still the same message. It's still the same message. So the only thing is, he has a right to contest. We are not saying he should not contest. But we are trying to demarcate him by talking about the primacy of the younger generation. So, I mean, it's neither here nor there. If you've taken a decision, stand by it.
Like Olusegun Obasanjo wrote his letter, and he has
a dirty fighter. Once he based off his mind, you saw part of what Kazim showed us was Obasanjo inside a market in Abeokuta. When he made up his mind that he would demarket Jonathan, because his motto at that time was ABJ, anyone but Jonathan. So when he made up his mind, he made up his mind to go to any length, whether to go and talk to the women selling kose or the women selling tomato and all that. He was telling them, look, this government has failed you.
Now, it's just about a year. Today is 5th of February. By 16th of February 2019, that's a year from now, we'll be conducting the next presidential election. And the politicking, is becoming, the atmosphere is becoming charged when it comes to politics. What do you see ahead? It's as if these generals are setting an agenda for what to come. How effective will this agenda be?
Yeah, the Nigerians should not be deceived. Like he said, the terms are all there. I mean, the signs are there. It is for Nigerians to know that we have that power in the PVC that we can use. We might not like what is happening. The only way we can say we want to take our destiny into our hands is to make sure we use the PVC. And Babasanjo is saying that Buhari should not contest. Now, IBB, whether directly or indirectly, through rebuttal or whatever, the summary of what he is saying is that he's speaking to Babangida's Metro Obasanjo's letter now that there should be no gang up outside what is allowed by the law. He is saying that the coalition is not a political party and that you can still look inwards into his PDP, quote and unquote. That's what he's trying to tell Nigerians. And he is saying anybody that is Buhari's age should not be voted for. So, but then the coalition too has not given us, because with the face of the coalition, which we are beginning to emerge.
MJ, let me quickly take this call. Moshood is calling us from Ilorin, that's Kwara State. Thank you for hanging out with us, Moshood.
I'm with you.
Yes, go ahead with your contribution, Moshood.
Yes, the thing is, we just have to understand what I understand about this issue. Good. What I understand is that
make your point. Keep talking.
Beyond issue of the Buhari not going for the second time. The problem even is with Obasanjo himself and the so-called IBB, because this is just simple thing. They are only trying to fight for relevancy, and the relevancy cannot be everywhere and at every time. And having said all this, it is we that youth, because I'm one of the youth in the country, it is we that we needed to wake up that this is our time, and we need to take our destiny into our hands. Because having said all this, 2019 we are talking about is very close, although it's next year, but it is not there. It is not there. The both two leaders that are giving us such advice, it is not there. They should allow us to decide that. Whether
all right.
Buhari is doing, and mind you.
Thank you, Moshood. I have to really take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. Please stay with us. We'll be right back after this time out. Glad to have you back. This is Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from Television Continental here in Lagos, Nigeria. And Martin, as we reach home stretch on this particular topic, I want the government, the message for the government of the day, because in 2014, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, I don't know, maybe he read this handwriting. Things like this started unfolding gradually. Different groups, different weighty people, opinion molders started speaking against that particular administration. At a point in time, he even reduced the price of petroleum products some weeks to the election.
Yes.
It was so insignificant and uncelebrated.
Yes.
So, what do you see ahead?
Well, definitely, what I see ahead is, you know, when these big men begin to talk, like we said here, we may ignore them, but, you know, their opinion, as he used the word, carries a lot of weight. And what we have for the people, if they say don't run, if you know that you have significance, as I gave an illustration even in the office today, if the general overseer takes your pulpit from you and you are an anointed pastor, you go away with your gift. They have only taken the pulpit from you. You go away with your gift and you will excel, even if you go to Sambisa Forest. In the same vein.
No churches there.
In the same vein. Whatever the letter writers are saying, whatever they are doing, yes, they are just sensitizing Nigerians. You know that IBB said, I speak as a stakeholder, former president, concerned Nigerian and a patriot who desires to see a new paradigm in our shared commitment to get Nigeria running. So, you see, they are speaking, but they are very significant voices. And the government of the day should address what Jide said. They should address common thing. Because these same people, if we want to contextualize their speeches, they have run this country. All the issues we are talking about, critical infrastructure, everything, they have not provided. That is why we are still concerned about them today.
Accumulation of what has happened over
the cumulative effects of their ineffectiveness, inefficiency, of non-performance, we are still suffering. Somebody said Federal Republic of Nigerian Army. They didn't give us, the only prominent thing they gave us was nation's capital. And we can do without a beautiful nation's capital. It's not the capital that makes a nation. We don't have critical infrastructure. We are calling foreign direct investors. We are calling this one. There is no roads to our port. We have very few airports that are not running well. We do not have good roads. I returned from Akure just yesterday. Or there I bought for 200 naira per liter. Yesterday, just yesterday, while I was coming from Akure. You know, the issues are still there. Therefore, President Muhammadu Buhari, who is in office and in power today, should address the grievances and what is making these people to be writing letters to say, look, I am old, but I am efficient. I am old, I can do it again. I can finish the job. Don't let them just stop this match midway into the first 45 minutes. I can still play very well, I can still run very well. Let him demonstrate now. We have talked about presidential appointments that have not been well done. We have talked about parochialism in appointment. We have talked about procrastination in the presidency. We have talked about so many things. Let him address those things, and people will change their opinion.
Yes. Jide, now, should we look at the message and ignore the messenger, or we should look at both? Because somebody will say, Babangida might not have...
current message.
Yes, this current message. And message, yes. Because...
And which of the
General Babangida has not told us why he are not General Babangida has not told us why so many things happen under, and he has refused to write anyway. And the lawyers will say, does he even have the moral justification or the locus to...
You see, one thing most people will remember Babangida for is the annulment of the June 10 revelation. And many people will also remember him for kicking out Buhari out of power. Remember the statement that Abacha made when he wanted to beg Buhari to come and be PTF chairman. He said that they regretted kicking him out of power. And for that reason, because Buhari felt that that thing was done in bad faith. For many years, Babangida wanted to get close to Buhari again, but Buhari refused. On some occasions, he brought with him northern leaders. He would storm Buhari's home in Kaduna. And Buhari would say, no, he didn't tell me he was coming. You know, we stormed the place. But the truth is, Buhari's marriage to Sefinatu broke down all because while Buhari was under house arrest in Benin, they were funneling the wife with money and even gave her a car gift. And Buhari came back, said, the people locked me up. You took the gift of a car, a Peugeot 504 station wagon from them, and Buhari decided that the wife had to go. So there are many reasons for which Buhari will not or will never be happy with IBB. And there are many reasons for which IBB will feel uncomfortable and probably even terrified about the Buhari presidency. Yeah. If I'm not exaggerating now. But as someone who saw some of those things, who saw efforts by him to make up to this man, and this man refused. Remember, your parent died, you are not allowed to pay last respect to your parent because somebody locked you up under house arrest. This is difficult to take for people. And till today, those two generals can never be described as
best of friends.
As even friends, except you are deceiving yourself. On the strength of what I've seen, they can't be friends. So it would be happier for that man to be out of office and probably someone who will listen to them, you know, because as far as it's concerned, Buhari is not someone who even listens to people. It was part of their complaint when they removed him from power, that he would not listen. So they will prefer someone that will listen to them. They will prefer this man to be out of the picture. But it is clear. Look at what he said. my support for a new breed of leadership derives from the understanding that it will show a marked departure from recycled leadership. Imagine IBB talking about recycled leadership. Man. That will breathe a fresh air into our present polluted leadership. If you are saying
that's
that
hypocritical.
Extremely. We've had a succession of polluted leadership. If I will agree with you that way. So you are not going to leave yourself out. He should have put himself in the mix.
Honestly.
He should have put himself in the mix so that we agree that, oh, this is a day that this man has chosen to speak the truth. So for me, as I said, these letters could even be a game changer for the president. All he needs to do is address those concerns. Those concerns are not just their concerns, they are the concerns of people or the rest of us.
The people that will vote.
Address those concerns, whether they like it or not. It is the Nigerian people that will determine
who will be their
president. Gets to become their president. Not Obasanjo, not Babangida, or probably if the man with the white beard too will join them in writing his own letter. We don't know yet. It is the Nigerian people. So let him dedicate himself to solving the problems. And when we talk about procrastination, I have talked about that several times. But the way it is now, with the Senate refusing to even confirm his appointments, I don't think we can continue to say that he has not, he has refused to...
Since another arm of government is out to frustrate him.
He has refused to...
Perform.
To even rejig his cabinet. Yeah, sure. Because if he sends a list of new cabinet members, it is certain that they will not, they won't...
There are some people who
opposition within... I have Abubakar. Abubakar is calling us from Lagos before we leave it here. Abubakar is calling us from Lagos. Thank you.
Yeah. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm Abubakar from Lagos. Good evening, Mr. Abajide.
Thank you, Abu.
I don't, sir. Please, I just have a little contribution on this program.
All right.
Yeah, please, the issue of this IBB writing letter and Obasanjo writing letter. The only thing I think we need in this country is prayer. You understand? In as much as those people are still existing, they are still Godfather.
That's true.
If they are still existing, the younger generation they are talking about can never have access into politics. Because when you just watch, look at all these local government chairmen, they are all above 40. You can never see a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old person holding that post. So the only thing we need is prayer. In as much as Obasanjo, IBB, they are still existing in this country, with due respect.
Thank you, Abubakar.
I don't think we have...
We've gotten your message. We have we pray. We pray in Nigeria.
Even God
touches all over. We pray.
The way we shout and pray.
All right. Moving on now. I want to say hooray. The army has defeated Boko Haram for the 18th time. In the last 3 years, Nigerians have been told that the terrorist group have been defeated. Interestingly, the declaration comes with interesting adjectives. In 2016, the group was technically defeated. In 2017, it was substantially degraded. And now it has been completely, underline that word, completely defeated. These interesting adjectives are the best. A salesman glide. In 2016, the army declared victory after capturing already deserted Camp Zero in Sambisa. This same venue is what was captured last week. And alas, we have defeated the enemy again. As we take to the dancing floor, the supposedly defeated enemy struck Kala village opposite the internally displaced persons IDP's camp in Dolari, Borno State. On Sunday, killed one person and set houses ablaze. Jide, is this one of our... Okay, let's start from Camp Zero. With the analysis we've been making here on the program, I've not been to Camp Zero, I've not been to Sambisa, I've not been to all these places. But from what I've gathered from honorable men here, I'm meant to understand abundantly. Boko Haram is not only in Sambisa forests.
Yes. We
have Boko Haram in Lake Chad. And the Abanawi faction, what do you call him? That and that is still part of Federal Republic of Nigeria. We have some territories still within that. But what is so significant about this Camp Zairo that they've taken over again? I saw one photo that the army were trying to make road inside the Sambisa, a portion, so that they will make the road more travel, so that they can have more access to that place. It's like a show of strength.
That road is important because the texture of the Sambisa soil is such that during the rainy season, the military is basically useless.
You cannot.
Because you can't roll your gun trucks, your heavy equipment into Sambisa at that time, because they will get stuck. So if they can successfully build a highway through the Sambisa, it will allow them to have greater access to only a small part of Sambisa. Sambisa is not a place where you can easily access, and you can totally access. I've seen reports saying that they've taken total control of Sambisa. Again, that is a lie, and they know it. You see, my own concern is, the president said something, and I'm holding on to it, that he will not believe that he has defeated the enemy until he has brought back all the Chibok girls. We are celebrating the release of 30,000 abductees, detainees, held by Boko Haram. It affirms what I've said repeatedly, that in the hinterland, Boko Haram still retains control of many communities in the hinterland. It is some of these communities that the army penetrated to effect the release of 30,000. 30,000 is a huge number. 30,000 Nigerians living under their captivity. Yes, because...
So how many we got there?
So if yeah, of course, it is not one community. It is basically the local government headquarters. We have captured every local government headquarters. But God knows that in the hinterland, outside of those local government, there are still communities that Boko Haram holds, still retains control over. That is where they are keeping the Chibok girls. That is where they are keeping, the Albanawi people too have some communities that they are in control of. My concern basically is that we get ourselves distracted unnecessarily. You see, every time you boast that you have defeated them, they want to do something the next day that will show to Nigerians that you are not saying the truth. Because if they can go to a village opposite Dalori camp, set the village ablaze and kill someone and injured others, they are saying that they still retain the capacity to inflict harm. As long as they continue to kill our people, even if it is through bombings and all that, people will have a feeling that the army has not finished the job. As long as those Chibok girls, more than 100 of them, are still in the hands of, both factions are holding on to girls. There are some of the Chibok girls with Banawi, there are some with Shekau. As long as they are holding on to those girls, the war is not over. The army is reporting that, oh, we are chasing them everywhere they go, we are chasing them, we're breaking the heart of the Shekau group. I think someone needs to explain to me how the heart of the Shekau group has been broken. They can take to their heels because they are a guerrilla outfit. When they take to their heels, they will go and prepare. They will run to safer places and prepare and come back and be launching attacks. For a long time before they attacked the oil workers, you know, in the Magumeri area, we didn't hear anything about them.
Those lecturers are still with them?
They are still with them.
Yeah. Wow.
They are still with them. The women, the Lhasa women, you know, who were kidnapped on their way for a wedding, they are still with them. So they need to take it easy. It's like every commander of the Operation Lafia Adole that comes to tell us one story or the other. One said the other day that the old Shekau is dead. That's the Irabo. But we know that Shekau is not dead. So I also read that, oh, Shekau could no longer walk, that he was paralyzed. In fact, one commander, so-called commander of Boko Haram that was nabbed, said, oh, it's good for Shekau now. He cannot walk. He's now paralyzed. But Shekau stood up in this latest video.
I'm sorry. Martin.
You know, this thing is coming again. I like the copywriter. He said the army has defeated Boko Haram for the umpteenth time. That is loaded. You know, in managing perception, managing public relations, some of these things, as Jide has said, you know, they shouldn't be saying so. Even government itself was still battling with the budget of $1 billion to finish this job. And they are celebrating that they have totally defeated this thing. And I don't understand why this thing is contrasting with a story I published as editor of The Guardian in 2015. Specifically, this is the story. This is the story. Military. They said military in victory mode against Boko Haram. It coincided at a Federal Executive Council meeting when they called INEC chairman and they held 4-hour meeting with him. The election was in the mood. And then all the service chiefs were present when they said they were celebrating the defeat of Boko Haram almost 3 years ago. And we are still in it. This story, military in victory mode against Boko Haram, they were going to celebrate. All the service chiefs, DGSSS, Chief of Army Staff, Chief of, at that time, Kenneth Menima, Yusman Jibrin, Chief of Naval Staff was there, DGSSS, all of them were there almost 3 years ago in military in victory mode against Boko Haram. We are still there 3 years after, and they are celebrating, they say, total defeat. They use so, you know. I believe that they should be cautious the way they manage these public relations because, as Jide said, they have not totally defeated Boko Haram because so many, this significant issue, the story of these Chibok girls has not been told. There is no victory over Boko Haram yet.
No. Going by
no victory. It's
going
not,
by all these
technically correct.
Technically defeated, substantially degraded. And some people will just be of the school of thought, why don't they just, you know, go about their work, just finish the job, and Nigerians will now see relative peace. And when Nigerians now start experiencing uninterrupted peace,
their homes,
and people start returning to their homes and everything, then Nigerians can now say, it's been a long time we've heard of any attack and everything. Then we can now, it can be a consensus thing that, yes, Boko Haram has been defeated. Because if these people, God forbid tomorrow, raise their ugly heads, strike again tomorrow, what would this make of the statement of this commander?
It's unfortunate that the Nigerian army or the military hierarchy, I mean, they lack the tactics and the strategy. They should know, they should understand by now that each time they come out with a statement that whether it's tactically defeated or technically defeated or degraded or whatever,
substantially degraded,
these characters will regroup and try and attempt to make a point by striking. Just yesterday night, I mean, in front of the IDP camp, I mean, that's so audacious to show you that they are still very much on ground. You can imagine the kind of security, and let's just watch. In the next 1 week, they are likely going to strike.
Shoot a video.
That is it. They will release a video to show that they are still much around. So I wonder, I think some of these statements even endanger. No, I mean, it could be political to you, no, Martin. It could be political, but then it lacks strategy, honestly, because it puts our people into more jeopardy in those parts of the country. And how do you explain to somebody in Borno who cannot even bank, who is not connected to the telephone, who does not have electricity?
No GSM mast.
No GSM mast, nothing. When you are saying for the past 3 years you have been talking about technically defeated, now you are saying totally defeated. And yesterday, just on Sunday, I mean, yesterday, you are talking about Sunday. People would think Sunday is about 5 days ago. Yesterday, overnight, 3 people died. And we've been having series of suicide bombers, attacks, and what have you. And the last week they were celebrating that now they have constructed the road into Sambisa. Sambisa is as big as about 4 or 5 states put together. So what are we talking about?
Well, actually, lately, we'll give it to the Nigerian army.
Yeah.
There was even, sometimes I will check your Facebook page and I will see the exploits and, you know, the giant stride of the Nigerian army that they've made so far in this place. And the last 1 month, despite the fact we see of attacks, they've been making inroads. I thought they would have kept that momentum and somebody would just keep quiet about this achievement.
That is what I expect of them. They are working
been
hard.
routing them,
I've acknowledged the hard work. I've proclaimed the hard work. They are even now collaborating with the Cameroonians, the Cameroonian forces. You know, they are coming onto Nigerian soil, you know, to work now, especially in the Goza area, you know, because that place is close to Cameroon. Goza, even Bama, not far from Cameroon. They are walking around those areas and trying to destroy these guys once and for all. But the battle has not been won. They've made serious progress, working with the Air Force. You can see that even the Air Force, they've sustained the bombing. They destroyed a lot of facilities of these people. They are gone, mechanic workshop and all that. And they've recovered even big equipment like a main battle tank, which Boko Haram snatched from the Nigerian army. They recovered it. So they've made progress in the last few weeks. I must acknowledge it. And the good thing also is that the Chief of Army Staff went to South Africa. He's been promised weapons with which we will prosecute this war and by God's grace defeat this brutal enemy. But I get really sad when I read this premature celebration of victory and all that. This kind of war, except the military are telling me that they don't understand this kind of war. The Chadian army that has been involved in this kind of war, and in my view, the most tested in this sub-region, will never go out and say that they've won. There are many things happening that we should be worried about. Look at the Nigerians, Niger Republic. They are proclaiming amnesty for Boko Haram. They are giving amnesty to Boko Haram. For this reason, some of the Boko Haram fighters are running to Niger. And Boko Haram has cells inside Niger Republic. Remember that they went and sacked a military base in Niger about 2.5 weeks ago. So we don't even know whether when these guys go into Niger Republic because they are facing fire from our people, that they come back again stronger and better harmed. I was talking to a general who told me, say, Jide, it is clear that these people are receiving foreign help. Otherwise, by now, we should be through with them. So we have to explore all the angles. How do we deal with this enemy decisively? That should be our plan. And once we are doing it, we should not even announce to people. The other day, the army announced, the army said people should not travel, those in social areas, the roads will be closed, this and that. And these guys are current. Once they pick up that kind of information, they will take to their heels, go and hide somewhere else, because they know that you want to operate in a particular part of Borno State. They will go and hide. Later on, they will come back when they can see that things have calmed down. Maybe during rainy season, they will come back and we see them start killing our people again. So I think the military, yes, we appreciate their sacrifice. God will bless them for the sacrifice that they are making for you and I to
lost a lot
safe.
of men.
We've lost friends, we've lost so many people. Especially last year, we lost so many soldiers to these people. Now, they just need to calm down, finish the job. When you finish the job, everyone will know. As I gave the example last week, when Tamil Tigers was defeated, the whole world knew. Because even the leader of the group, they got hold of him and killed him. In this case, Mama Noor, who is the unofficial leader of the Al-Banawi group, is still there. He's not dead. Al-Banawi himself is not dead. Shekau himself is not dead.
Like
so,
a cat with
so as long as they are alive, they can still mobilize others. Even some of the guests that we want to recover, some of those guests are saying they are not coming back.
Stockholm syndrome. Martin,
well, I think I align myself with that they should be resourceful in managing information. Even announcement of procured equipment and so many of those things are not necessary. When they should be working quietly. The defeat of Boko Haram will be obvious, will be known. When they are planning their strategy, they shouldn't go to the press to say, oh, from America, they are bringing this in from this one they are bringing this. They don't need all that. They should be resourceful in managing information in digital age.
MJ.
Kudos to our military, but they should talk less and work more.
Talk less and work more. I want to thank you, Moji Jami, for being part of this edition of Journalist Hangout. Martins Olojan, it's been a while. Thank you so much for being part of the house, and we'll do it together with Babajide Kolade Otitoju every other time. And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on all our platforms showing on the screen. And we're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I am Ayodele Ozuba. We'll see you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria. Bye.